When we first started, it was a case of, we're just sitting there like this and we're staring at the ceiling, more safety stuff, another boring meeting. As each day went by, it started to join in. We have a bit of a laugh as well. And now everybody gets up and gives it a go. We asked the staff if they would want to talk about other topics. And we had one gentleman, and he was quite open with this, was some mental health issues. People thought, well, he wasn't persecuted for it. He wasn't made to feel any different from anyone else. He was still just one of the team members. And that was really the catalyst. Just sort of started to roll on from there.
Hello, beautiful questers, and a warm welcome to the OneQuest podcast. We are absolutely delighted to have you with us on this journey of learning and self-discovery.
Our guests are not just mentors in wellness and self-improvement, they are adventurers at heart, sharing their unique paths and life lessons.
If you enjoy our show, please subscribe and share. Your support enables us to feature more amazing guests and deliver impactful conversations. Please note that some episodes may cover sensitive topics like abuse, mental health struggles, and personal challenges. Welcome to our Infinite Potential podcast. We are thrilled to introduce Mark Scanlon to our community to share his inspiring wellness journey, both professionally and personally. Mark is a leader in workplace wellness and company culture, transforming how businesses operate from the inside out. As Managing Director of Parker Scanlon, Mark has spent 17 years cultivating a workplace where staff feel motivated, valued, and empowered. His commitment to staff wellbeing has led to increased productivity, industry recognition, and multiple state and national awards. A lecturer at the Association of Consulting Surveyors Business Academy, Mark shares his expertise in fostering a thriving workplace. His approach proves that when wellness is prioritised, both people and businesses flourish. Welcome, Mark. It's so great to have you on.
It's great to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
You're so welcome. I'm always fascinated by our conversations and just how much you're focused on workplace wellbeing, and that's just such an important part of the culture in your business. So I guess a good place to start is really what started you on this work wellness journey? Was there a catalyst that kind of caused your fascination and intrigue there, or did you sort of fall into it?
It was really a case of just being different, offering something that was going to stand out, not only for our existing staff, but also to attract new staff. There's an acute shortage of surveyors and town planners out there, and we've got a lot of competition with other businesses, not only here, but sort of around the state. And so we needed to look at something that was going to make us stand out and attract in new staff. So we've never really been a business that is conformed to the norm. We've always done things just a little bit differently, and introducing wellness was a good fit for us. It fits in with my own personal philosophies and my family, and it turned out to be a great fit for our business, and we're sticking with it.
And just for context, Mark, how many team members do you have? What's the size of your business, just so that our listeners understand?
27 of us.
Wonderful. And so roughly how long ago did you start implementing workplace wellness programs?
It really started probably about five to 6 years ago. And it really started with our work health and safety policy. So we had a policy here that was compliant in that it satisfied all the rules and regulations, but it wasn't really anything that there was something that you could really deep dive into, and something that you could implement into your day-to-day activities. And so I had a very good friend that was very experienced in work health and safety, and I asked him to come in and have a look at our current policy and just to rev it up and make sure it is still compliant, but something that we can use. And that was really the start of the journey, because he really went through and made it something that we all owned. And for me as a business owner, the most important thing is that everyone is safe in the workplace. And we have a component of people in the office. We also have the people who are working outside in the field, and that's where most of the hazards are. And since we've been implementing our policies into our everyday, I sleep a lot better at night because I know that we've done as much as we can to make sure that everyone is safe and can do their normal day-to-day tasks in a safe manner. But it sort of went a little bit further than that because we had we started up a committee. We have regular meetings with our safety team, and we invite all particularly our field crew, in to go through and talk about safety things. And when we first started, it was a case of, we're just sitting there like this and we're staring at the ceiling, more safety stuff, another boring meeting. But we started to try and incorporate things that were actually were real for these guys. And then they started to get a bit of a buy-in. And then we started looking at, well, what other things can we start talking about? We can, it's coming in the summer, so we talk about sun safety. And so, we supply hats and sunscreen and that sort of thing. But what about outside of work hours? When you're going off to the beach on the weekend and that sort of thing. So, let's start talking about sun safety there. And we started talking about, things to look out for, if you do have some skin damage. And then it sort of went on to other things, and we spoke about work health and safety at home. And so every time now I pull the ladder out of the garage to go through and climb up on the roof and clean out the gutters and that sort of thing, I make sure that everything is super safe because I do not want to come into work on Monday with my arm in a sling and saying I didn't follow work health and safety and I did a crazy thing and got injured. So people started thinking about, well, maybe I should be more careful with the things I'm doing at home. And so it started to ingrain into the culture of the people that are here, thinking, well, that sort of stuff is really important, and then starting incorporating at home, the workplace, with their friends, their family, and it sort of just went on from there. We asked the staff if they would want to talk about other topics. And we had one gentleman who was with us for about 12 months. So he was just sort of transient. He sort of came back down south. And he was dealing, and he was quite open with this, was some mental health issues. It was something that we really never investigated or never really spoke about too much. But he was quite open and he said, well, these are the things that I've got going. And he actually had a lot of support from his work colleagues. And the fact that he spoke about so many things so honestly, people thought, well, he wasn't persecuted for it. He wasn't made to feel any different from anyone else. He was still just one of the team members. And people started feeling more comfortable about that. And then they started to open up as well. And next thing you know, we had this wonderful culture was starting to develop, how they're all looking out for each other and they had a genuine interest in their health and their wellness. And that was really the catalyst that just sort of started to roll on from there. So when you talk about a business, you can't really fake your work health and safety in your workplace, because not only is it legislated that you need to do it, but you have a moral obligation to go through and ensure that your health and safety of your staff are always paramount. And so I would always recommend, if you want to try and change the culture in your place, start with your work health and safety, because people are never going to say, oh, no, we're not going to worry about that. That's crazy. It's all a load of rubbish. No one ever thinks that way. They always think it's a really good thing and they start to implement it. If you just go in softly, and then you can start to develop the culture. And then once that starts to percolate, then you can start to dive into all sorts of things. So it's not only just getting cuts on your fingers, it's about perhaps some sort of scarring that you may actually have in your mind from what you've been experiencing or exposed to or hearing and that sorts of things. So it's covering the whole thing. So it's a good place to start. And will certainly work well for us.
I've got a little bit of experience in the health and safety space. Specifically, you would be more so in the construction industry, wouldn't you?
Yes. Yeah,
so that workforce and that industry I don't feel like it really supports people to be open and kind of speak and be vulnerable about things like mental health and challenges they're going through. So it must have been quite unique for your workplace to be seeing this change when that one person started opening up, and then all of a sudden you get a completely different outcome from everyone.
Absolutely. Certainly when I was starting in the industry, it was a case of, just toughen up, wipe away the tears, big boys, come on, we've got things to do. We've got stuff to do, and we haven't got time for any of this nonsense, any of this softness. But there's been quite a change, not only in our organisation, but I'm starting to see that through the industry as well. So, and perhaps just a general awareness through the community as well, which is maybe it was something that's really evolved out of the COVID era as well, because people all of a sudden they realise that their whole life had been perhaps changed around. What they considered to be normal and reliable was no longer, and they had time to really assess their lives and where they're at and what was important. And perhaps that's when maybe the change started to come about. And of course, we've got people working from home by themselves when they've been used to working in an environment where there's lots of people to talk to and to mix with. And then all of a sudden they're on their own, apart from a Zoom chat or maybe a phone call throughout the day, and that's about it. So, a lot of those things perhaps percolated to the surface, and there was awareness. And thankfully, a lot of people did something about it, so which was a great thing.
Definitely. And I know you have a lot of different things that you implement within your day-to-day that really help support your staff. I think one of the interesting things that I've really seen is that we have a lot more expectation these days that our workplace is also our community, especially coming out of COVID, where we had such a lack of community and connection. Workplace has sort of become one of the main areas where people sort of really lean into it, but it's also sort of a need for mental support, physical support. Like there is a lot that we kind of wish and hope for in our businesses, in our work lives, and in our colleagues, that they're there in such a supportive role. But what I love the most is all of the little things that you've done within your business, like your chair yoga and your morning of silence. Like, I'd love to talk about some of those things and what sort of success you've had with that.
Yes, thank you for asking. The yoga component was something that my wife had thought about, because most office workers were just sitting here polishing up our bums on our chairs, and we just spend many hours sitting here, and then at the end of the day we sort of crawl up and twist and move off and head on home. And I recall it was towards the end of the year, sort of in mid-December, and my own body was starting to feel just all tight and twisted, because I've spent so much time sort of sitting at a desk. And I thought, well, I need to go and do something about it. And my wife, with her yoga experience, said, oh, how about you get the staff to go through and do some yoga throughout the day? And I said, oh, I'm not sure how it's going to go. And I think the first time we gave it a crack, there was about 4 or 5 people that said, oh, yeah, we'll have a go. And then after a few weeks, there was a few more joined in, and it started to slowly get some traction. And the idea is we've got a ship's bell in the office, and we just ring the bell 11 o'clock each day, whereabouts, and say, and somebody will get up and they would lead the class. And you don't have to join in; you can just sit there and just observe if you wish. But the message that I got really strongly one time was, my wife was out shopping one day, and she ran into the wife of one of the staff members here, and they just sort of talking away and having to talk about our 11 o'clock stretch. And she said, oh, yeah, it's been really good for my husband, because, I've known him for 8 years now, and it's the first time he's ever been able to touch his toes. I go, right. We're not stopping this. This is something that's really good, and we want to keep going with it. And we had people, as each day went by, start to join in. We have a bit of a laugh as well. And so we've got a few regular people that like to run the class. And there's other people saying, oh, I think it's 11 o'clock, or they'll go out and ring the bell and saying, I think we need to get going because everyone wants to join in. And now everybody gets up and gives it a go. So it's really wonderful to go and see. And then it's not every day, but we have our little straps as well. So in the afternoon, you can get up and you can just do a bit of a stretch behind the neck and twist that way and twist that way. And you can buy these as cheap as chips from Kmart, only a couple of dollars. So everybody's got one of these on their desk. And when you've been, once again, sitting in a chair for a long time or sitting at a computer, just grabbing the strap and having a stretch is just wonderful. We tend to have a bit of a theme each year at work, and I did notice that perhaps when we're doing our little movements and things last year, there was a few little creaks and groans, as often happens in a physical class, whether it be Pilates or yoga or whatever, and cracking the knees when you're squatting down, and thinking that perhaps there's something more that we could be doing. And so the theme for the company this year is longevity. And so we're exploring different ways to increase the longevity of our staff members. And in doing so, we something like the idea that the ideas that they're picking up here are something they can incorporate into their everyday, but also take to their families as well to foster a more physical culture at home and in the workplace. And perhaps also just an awareness as well, thinking, well, what is my lifestyle? What am I doing at the moment? Is this setting me up for a very long and healthy and flexible life? And if it's not, then it's time to go and start doing stuff now, because when you get into your 40s, your 50s and 60s perhaps, it takes a long time to wind that clock back to go through and make yourself nimble and flexible again. So if we can just be mindful of that and start to incorporate different things into our workplace, then that'll be the catalyst for hopefully greater longevity for all staff members. So that's our thing for this year. Give it a good red hot crack. So, yes.
Excellent. And what else? Are there any other activities you've implemented in the workplace?
So on Wednesdays, instead of doing our yoga stretch, we have WWW, which is We Walk Wednesdays. So we're very fortunate that only about a block and a half away is a really nice park. And so we all just romping out through the door and head on down to the park and do a few laps around there and become acquainted with our local community and our surroundings and get some fresh air. And we're having a bit of a chat along the way, and it's just nice to go out and stretch the legs. And it's really simple, and we're only out for about 10 or 15 minutes. But just to go and fill the lungs with a bit of air and a different space, people come back really invigorated and ready to get back into it. So, just a really simple thing. We also have a massage therapist that comes in and does a bit of work on the neck and the shoulders just to limber up as well. So that's always nicely received, and just sort of go onto a bit of a roster and line up at the door. And we've got some rooms that are sort of set aside for that, and pull the blinds down and dim the lights, and I go in there and just do a bit of massage work, and I feel a little bit of crunching and crackling and that sort of thing as well. It's certainly not something that's done every day, but it could be incorporated more so, is some bit of meditation as well. And I remember going out for dinner with a bunch of friends one night, and this one particular guy who works for a really large national company, of which there's like thousands of people there, and there was a new CEO that had taken over this company, and he said that there was an invitation for all staff members to join in on this Zoom meeting. And I think he said that there was maybe about 500 people that were Zooming in for the first one. And this guy got up there and he said, Mr. Smith, or whatever his name is. And the new guy But let's just, before I start talking about my vision for the business, let's just all settle in, and we'll just do a little meditation. And there's 500 people there. This is again thinking, who is this guy? He's our new leader. What's he on about? Apparently 2 weeks later, when he did the next one, there was double the number of people that zoomed in, just to think, well, this guy's actually really different, and he's got something to offer, and we really like what he does, and his methods seem really appealing. So I thought, if they can do it, we can do it here. And so I remember the next day, after meeting the friends there for dinner, we got a really large car park underneath the building, and we had all the staff down there. And I said, I'm just going to try something a bit different. We haven't done this before, but just bear with me. And it was sort of around about that COVID era as well. There's a lot of unknowns, and people weren't sure about, what was happening with their lives and their work. And we thought we'd give it a crack. And so we got everyone to face away from each other, like facing the wall, and not looking at each other, just in case somebody's got their eyes open and they're looking at me. So there was none of that. And we went through, and it was quite well received. So we've done it a couple of times now, just to chime in, and it's something a little different. And last year we just had some fun, and we introduced what I call was the best ever day at work. And so I just wrote up on the whiteboard and said, next Wednesday, whatever the day it was, is going to be our best ever day at work, and just left it at that for a few days. And people go, oh, what's going to go on? Are we all going to go out for lunch? Are we all going to get a new staff member? Or we all going to go to the movies? I don't know what's going to happen. And I wasn't really sure myself. I was sort of just seeing how it played through. And I emailed everyone and said, tell me what your best day at work looks like. And I was thinking that they would just come through and they'd say, oh, well, we all lock up at lunchtime, and we get out of the pub, or we, bring our dogs in and we play with them, or I don't know, silly things. But much to my surprise, most of them said that I want to get through my to-do list. I want to have a great result with a client. I want to win in a new job. I want to do whatever. And they're all basically work-focused, which sort of just goes to prove that people, when they come to work, they genuinely want to come in and make a difference with what they're doing. They want to feel satisfied with the work that they're doing. They want to, at the end of each day, they want to be able to go home and say, I've actually achieved something today. I've done something. I've made a difference for my client. I've made an approval, or I've made a new housing estate. And so there's going to be all these people, they going to come in and live in this new community. And so I'm making a difference that way. And it was really interesting just to see those responses. But a lot of them said that they still want to incorporate the wellness. They still want to do the walks. They still want to have the yoga and all those sorts of things. So they felt as though those sorts of things were actually really important in their day. So we did a few things. We had the massage people came in. When we did our walk down to the park, we actually did yoga down there, which was really nice. It was a beautiful sunny day. And then at the end of the day, we also did a meditation. And once again, it was only just something went for about 10 minutes. And we started by just saying, well, have a think back to the best holiday you've ever had, and what you experienced and what you smelled, what you tasted, those sorts of things. And so the idea was for people to get in a comfortable position and just relive that experience and see, that holiday, yes, I remember it was lying in the sun, beautiful on the beach, and we had cocktails every night, and we did this, and just to relive all that lovely time that they had. So once again, something was really simple, but sort of, I guess it comes under that meditation banner, in that you close your eyes down, you become relaxed, and you're taken away into a different place than the four walls that you have been sitting in. So yeah, something a little bit different, was a bit of fun, and I think at the end of it, Actually, one thing that was interesting was that the people that really were invested in it and said they turn up each day and say, today actually is going to be the best ever day at work. And the ones that sort of had a real big buy-in, funnily enough, they all had the best ever days at work. And for many of them, it was their most productive days they've ever had because there was so many things that come in the door. There was so many projects that were completed. Yes, it was just the mindset of going, well, today's going to be an awesome day. And I started today and saying today's going to be a great day. And I've come in and I've written it all over my paperwork that I've got. And lo and behold, here we are. We're having a great day. So it's a choice. It doesn't really matter what gets thrown at you. It's how you respond to it. And if you still think, well, it's going to be a great day no matter what comes my way, then that's what you'll get. It becomes an expectation. So, yeah. So incorporating little things like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's all about choice.
Yeah, and the beauty of it all is that aside from the massage therapist, there's not really any cost other than time.
No. We're a consultancy business, and so it's important that we have some targets for our productivity and to make sure that we are making things happen. So our staff have timesheets that they fill in each day, and we use that for sending out invoicing and keeping track of how things are going. But we didn't want people to feel as though, well, yeah, I really like to go and do a 15-minute stretch in the middle of the day, but what do I put on my timesheet? Do I need to sneak that into somebody, one of my clients, accounts? I said, well, that's probably not going to be the best thing to do. So we came up with a code. It's called wellness. And so throughout the day, if you're doing something that is good for your wellness, then that's the code that you go through and put onto your timesheet. And overall, it accounts for maybe 2% of the time that they're actually here. And so for that sort of time investment, the rewards are exponentially higher in that people are feeling good about themselves, they're feeling more energized, and in doing so increases effectively their productivity. So it's just a win-win really, and it makes us also stand out as a place just being a little bit different, a little bit quirky, and it's interesting how we've attracted some people into our workplace because they know that we are a little bit different and that we endeavour to look after our staff and their health and their well-being, and we're mindful of it.
I went to an event a little while ago and the presenter just asked everyone to stand up and take 3 breaths. That's all it was. She just talked us through it, maybe a 1-minute exercise. And then she just asked, do you all feel better? Do you all have a little bit better clarity, whatever? And you could see everyone was like, oh yeah, that feels great. Like it doesn't take much at all to make a shift from a little bit stressed or distressed or anxious, whatever it is, to just calming the body, calming the mind a little bit. Yeah, it's great. It's amazing what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you. Yes. We had a magazine article written about us, and of course it went all over the country, actually, this particular magazine. And so one of my colleagues only just yesterday had a phone conversation with another guy, local, and he rang up and he said, "Oh, I'm just ringing up. Is that the yoga company there?" So this is an article that was written a couple of years ago, but it's sort of stuck in his mind as us as being the place that was the yoga company. Yes. So So I'm quite happy to have that reputation and to be the quirky ones that sort of stand out. So yes, just being that little bit different from the pack.
Now, I have to ask about the morning of silence, because you were telling me about this the other day, that it may not have been picked up quite as well as you wanted, but you definitely have tried to sort of bring that concept in. And I just thought it was so clever. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I'd love to. And I only just shared the same story with a staff member only about an hour ago.
Okay.
I was fortunate enough to head a trip to Nepal in November last year. And I was at, funnily enough, I was at a yoga retreat there. And we did all sorts of things there. But one of the things that was on offer was to go through and do a walk around the local area. And there was a guide that sort of took me through. And of course, Nepal is not a flat country, it's mostly up and down. So we climbed a mountain and to go and have a look at the view from the top. And there was a little monastery up there. And around the monastery, there was a fence, and there was a few little signs and things, all just been hand painted, and some little inspirational stories, sort of been written there. But the one that really stood out for me the most was, and it was something along the lines of the sun and the moon rise and set in absolute silence. Seeds in the ground germinate and grow up to be a beautiful flower or a tree or whatever it happens to be, also in complete silence. And they are very beautiful. And they just go about doing their thing just in complete silence. And so it is that it's important for all of us to actually incorporate silence into our own day to become, I guess, complete and full and beautiful, and also to reflect upon the wonderful and beautiful things that are actually around us. And so I'm thinking, okay, how can I incorporate silence into the workplace, apart from shaking a big stick and saying, no talking, everyone, do their work. And one thing I had noticed from time to time is that people, maybe when they're coming into work, they might come in, say, 5 or 10 minutes late, and they're all flustered because they couldn't find little Johnny's shoes and socks to get him ready for school, or they couldn't find the car keys, or they had a flat tire, or they incorporated heavy traffic, or they couldn't find a car park, or whatever it is. And something that just sort of put them off centre and a little bit flustered. And oftentimes, if you're only 5 or 10 minutes late, starting work or an appointment or whatever, you tend to never really catch up throughout the day because you just feel as though you're always running behind, and I'm trying to do all these things and try and catch up. And I was thinking, how is it that we can acknowledge that, yes, something's happened to me in the morning, that I'm a little bit off centre, but I'm here now and it's time to be present and to put the past behind me because I can't change it. And I thought perhaps having all of us at some point in the morning to go through and experience silence. And so we would all be in a selected spot throughout the office or wherever we want to be, facing a wall once again, and only just 2 or maybe even 3 minutes of just sitting there in silence and just going, okay, little Johnny, we didn't find his shoes and socks, but we found something else. I did eventually find a car park. I did turn up to work. That's all behind me now. So it's time just to go and reset, just to go and pause, stop, recharge, 2 or 3 minutes, and then back into the day. So I was thinking, maybe we just do that at the start of each day. But then, of course, the people that are actually coming in late, maybe 5 or 10 minutes, they're going to miss it. So the whole point is to try and capture those people. So my work colleague I was talking to earlier today was thinking, well, when can we incorporate this? When would be a good time that we could do it? And we all agreed that it's probably not for everyone. It's just something that if you want to go and have a go at it, see if there's any benefits, then we'll give it a go. And then I suspect over time that other people will get on board and it'll be something that'll be mainstream. So watch this space and we'll see how we go with that one. Yes. But it's just incorporating the silence, resetting, focus, and then get on with the day. Something to be
All these concepts, again, really simple, really, like, I think, effective, but where are you getting these ideas from?
I don't know. I just happen to come across these things. I'm open to new ideas and new concepts. Funnily enough, most of the ideas don't come to me whilst at work. Most of them come to me when I'm out doing a bushwalk, or I love being on the water, boating or swimming or being at the beach. So there might be something that I'll see in nature that just tweaks something in my mind, and the creative juices start flowing, and that's when things start to come about.
Or trekking through Nepal.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very good.
I've been very fortunate in that the last couple of Christmases, the staff have bought me vouchers for float tank sessions. So I'm not sure if they're sort of saying, "Oh, Mark, you're really stressed out. You need to go and sit in one of these float tanks for a while." Or perhaps it may be the case that when I am sitting in a float tank or laying in a float tank, and I'm clearing my mind of anything that's no longer serving me, and opens me up for experiencing new ideas that I can actually bring to the workplace or to my home or family. So perhaps there's something to be taken from that as well, that if you are going with an intention into a float tank or a meditation, whatever you're saying, well, I want to experience something, I want to bring something to my home or to the workplace, and perhaps that's what you'll get, and it's something you can take home. So yeah, the float tank sessions have been terrific, very relaxing as well, of course.
And have you noticed, with all of these things that you've been implementing and trialing at work, have you noticed a big difference in the way the staff members are with each other and within themselves? I know we were talking about productivity before, and obviously that's one of the goals of business, is to be productive, but people who are happy and feeling supported and connected, that's obviously making a very big difference, not just to the work culture within the workplace, but to those people's lives and how they show up for their families. Have you noticed a difference?
It warms my heart when I see and hear the staff members going about their days and what they're doing. Just some really simple examples. One staff member has just bought a new place. It's sort of a semi-rural area, and they've got some chickens there, and so practically every day there's eggs have been brought in for anyone to go and take home. People go and do some baking on the weekend, and then they tend to bring some stuff to bring into the workplace. We have a staff member that likes a bit of outdoor pursuit and fitness, and has had decided to go through and do some training for a marathon, and in New York of all places. And the staff members really encouraged her to go through and do that. And they just went around and collected a whole bunch of money and gave her a voucher at one of the running shops in town to go through and buy a really good pair of running shoes so that she can wear those to run in the marathon. So these kind of things, they're just an indication of how much love and respect there is for their teammates, and that they want to see the best that comes out of them. This morning we had the news that one of the ladies here, her daughter got engaged on the weekend, and that was greeted with great applause and great cheering, and saying, "Oh, how wonderful is that?" and for you to go and experience those things. So those little stories are being shared throughout the office. Not last Friday, the Friday before, We had our field crews came in early, and our office staff all joined in. We went through and we did our street cleanup. There was a few weeds and things that were coming up through the footpaths, and there was rubbish and stuff that had sort of blown in, and so we all spent some time just going out, pulling out weeds and cleaning up our street on both sides and just really making it look nice. But the nice thing was that some staff members actually brought their kids in as well, because they wanted to introduce their kids to teamwork. So, people working together for a common goal, and also to take some civic pride in their community, saying, if we go ahead and we just pick up a few papers, and if their friends also pick up a few papers and rubbish and things and put it in a bin, then it makes a big difference. And so it's really nice to go and see not only the staff members joining in for something that was going to make the street look good, but also they felt strongly about incorporating their kids to come in and be part of it. So, yeah, so those sorts of things were really nice to go and see.
And what sort of wellness practices do you do outside of work for yourself? You said you get out into nature a fair bit, but do you do yoga? Do you do any other specific wellness activities?
Yeah, a little bit. So there is the yoga at the local studio, which I quite enjoy. I wasn't really sure what to expect with heading up there, and many times I was the only male in the room. It's good to see there's a few other blokes that sort of tag along now. But I was mainly sort of going there just for stretching and that sort of thing. But seeing I've been going there for so long, I know that it's a lot more than just the physical movement. It's sort of quietening the mind and looking really at the whole body and not just the physical side of things. And so that's been really nice to explore. Yeah, sort of getting out, bushwalks and boating and those sorts of things I really quite enjoy. So, a lot of time in the garden as well, which we quite enjoy. But yeah, I'm I don't mind a little bit of a physical challenge from time to time. Myself and a whole bunch of other people, we've done things like the Great North Walk between Sydney and Newcastle. We've done that twice now. And towards the end of last year, we did the Bondi to Manly Walk, which is about 80 kilometres along the foreshore around Sydney Harbour, which was just absolutely fantastic. I had a sore neck from, one moment I'm looking off to the right to look at all the boats and activities that are happening in the harbour. And the next I'm looking to the left at all those magnificent houses that are looking out over that view. And, and what is probably the most expensive real estate in Australia. So that was quite amazing to experience that. And also to see that there were so many bush areas around what is one of the biggest cities in the country. So that was quite an eye-opener as well. So there's actually one little section at the end which we hadn't completed, and we're booked in to do that on the end of next month. We're heading down to go through and finish off that little section. So yeah, so we're looking forward to that.
Excellent. Plenty of wellness activities.
Yes.
How do you go from your local yoga studio to a yoga retreat in Nepal? That's quite a jump.
Yes, it is.
You're very keen.
Yes. There was a conference in Port Douglas a couple of years ago, and we put a submission in for an award there. And so we thought we better go up there and see what it's all about. And we hadn't actually been to that part of the world before. And so we were just looking at different activities and things around the place. And there was a number of retreat places there. My wife and I looked at each other and said, "Are you feeling brave?" So I thought, yeah, right, we'll give it a crack. And so we did a 4 days up in the Daintree. And that was quite an eye-opener. There was sort of no talking throughout the night, and then in the morning there was a meditation for about an hour, and then there was sort of yoga throughout the day, and as well as being able to look around the local area and check out the sites. So we survived that, and actually thought it was quite a good experience. An opportunity came up to go to Nepal last year, and it
Wow.
was quite a busy schedule. There was so many things I wanted to fit in and to go and see and do an experience. And I thought, why not go and challenge myself just a little bit further? And so I looked at retreats in Nepal, in particular in Kathmandu, and this one came up, and I thought, why not? So that was 4 days at this retreat, and it was interesting in that there were quite a few people there doing their yoga teacher training. Sort of they're doing their 250 and 500 hours of training, and there were some people that had been there for 3 or 4 months, and so there was an hour and a half of yoga every morning. And I remember getting up there and just looking at how flexible these people were, and the yoga instructor, who was quite a bit of a guru, he would, I don't know, he should have just been in the circus. This guy could bend and you know, scratch his ears with his toes, pull his legs up, and I'm thinking it was quite an eye opener, but it was good for me in that I sort of joined in as best as I could, and went for the experience. There was a whole different other wellness modalities that were on offer as well, and so we got to experience those, which was fantastic. Um, there were a number of, I can only describe them as gurus, perhaps enlightened people that were there, and they were sort of running different courses in meditation and chakra balancing and sound healing and a whole range of things. But I got to spend some time with one of them in particular, who was just he was somewhat philosophical, talking about philosophy and with people being here on this earth and what you can do and what you can experience. And I've listened very intently to what this person had to say. And I've always really had it in the back of my mind, but I hadn't really lived it to its fullness. And the thing that I got from this one particular gentleman was the not only thinking, but also the acting of gratitude, and how important it is to incorporate that into your life, into everything that you do, the way that you think about things, the way that you see things. And that was something that was probably the most valuable thing I actually brought home from my trip away, was to incorporate gratitude into my everyday. And it's the last thing I think about before I head off to sleep overnight. And it's certainly forefront of my mind in the things that I experience each day. And that could be just even looking out the window and experiencing beautiful sunshine and birds flying around in the trees, and seeing nature so close. A lot of people don't get to experience that, and so that's something to be grateful for. The fact that I had a nice meal to eat today, and I have a roof over my head, and you don't need to travel too far and too wide to see that a lot of people don't have those things, and to know that I have those things is something that's truly to be grateful for. And so by incorporating gratitude into my day and to be mindful of it, it's quite a mindful shift in how you look at the world. And when you're grateful for something, it brings a smile to your face. So it gets those endorphins going and make you feel feeling happy, and that's always a good thing as well. So incorporating gratitude is very much as part of my daily routine of wellness.
Very good. And at the beginning, did you struggle to find things to identify as been grateful for, or did it come pretty naturally after being over there and because of the wellness practices you've always been doing?
Have been fortunate enough to travel to quite a few places around the world, and certainly a number of third world nations as well. And even there's people there that seemingly have nothing. They don't really have a stable place to go and live, nor a plentiful supply of food. But I have witnessed firsthand how any little thing that might come their way to enhance their life, there's just an extreme element of gratitude for them, and they're living that each day, and it's bringing smiles to their faces and brings happiness. And so, if they can get joy and happiness for just the smallest of things, then I should be absolutely doing cartwheels and over the moon about what's considered to be normal standards for our lifestyles around in this beautiful country that we live in. So so gratitude to the nth degree for me.
Excellent.
That's excellent. It's amazing when you start implementing small practices like that, what a difference it can have, and what a shift in perspective you can have so quickly. I think it's quite fascinating.
Yeah.
It's been just so interesting talking to you today too.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. And once again, these are all just decisions. And it's up to you as to whether or not the glass is half full or half empty, and make the decision that's going to put a smile on your face and smile on the faces and the people that are around you. It's not hard.
Totally. And I was going to ask, if there were other business owners out there and they were looking to start implementing some of the practices that you've done in your workplace, do you have any advice for them as to what maybe a good first step in would be, or if there's anything that you found worked really well for you as sort of a good starting point?
Just start off small and live by example. So it's great to go and implement these ideas and say, okay, team, go off and run with it. But if you can show that you're human as well, that you have emotions as well, it's been more than one occasion that staff have seen me, emotional about different things, or sort of worked up because I've been so excited or so moved by something that I've seen or something that I've experienced or been in. If you can go through and show them that you are still vulnerable and then you're just like them, you're no better or no worse than anyone else in the workplace, then that's a good place to start. And if you can go through and say, well, the reasons why I'm implementing these things and the reason why I want to incorporate these into our everyday is because I actually care about you. I care about your health and your longevity, and it's important for me to do as much as I can to improve your lives, not only by paying you every week or whatever it is, but also to look at your wellness and look at you as a whole being. And if you can get that message across, then I think the take up will be, and if you're most sincere about it as well, of course, it's you can't just sort of say, oh, well, this is what's expected, this is the norm, and incorporate that. If you really truly believe it and really want to make a difference and put that out there, then you'll get a buy-in from everyone. And the ones that don't buy in, well, I guess they're the ones that really, at the end of the day, will miss out. And give it a crack.
Absolutely. I love that one of the BHAGs for OneQuest is to impact the lives of 1 billion people. And the theme is that by one person doing a wellness practice for themselves, they can go out into their community, go back to their home, to their family, go back to their workplace and show up as a slightly better person and have an impact on someone else as well. And you're actually doing it. And this is what I love about your story, is that you have introduced this to your workplace. You've got at the moment 27 people who you are impacting their lives, hopefully in a wonderful way. And the wellness practices that you're doing, those people are then able to go home. And then, as you already heard the feedback, her husband can now touch his toes. So she's happy. She's seeing the benefit of your workplace programs, mate. I think it's absolutely brilliant what you're doing. And the fact that you're changing people's lives is just incredible. I really, thank you for coming on and sharing this story. I hope a lot more people listen and they start implementing something in their workplace so that you're having more of an impact on more people.
Yes. Well, we can always hope. Trust the message will get out there. Yes.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Mark. We so appreciate your time, and thank you for being such a leader in workplace wellbeing. It's fantastic to see, and I'd love to see more business owners really stand in and sort of step up into this realm, which, like you said, small things can make such a big difference. It's truly special what you're doing, and it's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks for the opportunity to share the story.
Thank you, Mark. We'll speak soon.
Okay, thanks.